Believe it or not, that was my own just meandering getting in the way. We have with us today... Oh, here, hold on. Perfect. You can keep that, by the way.
For real?
Yeah, you can... It's our parting gift. You're good.
Thanks, mister.
Of course. We treat our guests right here on the Jinxbot show. So, you were just telling me about a project that has had a lot of work poured into it, and you're really excited about it. Gumball 3.0 is an experience unlike any other, and I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your journey on the way there.
Like the history of Club Gumball?
It's a little broken, sorry. You can just, it'll float away.
I love that.
We lose more flowers like that. I'm always making them. That's why this gear's spinning. It's printing. More gears. The flowers are floating away.
Happen. If your flowers aren't floating, you're doing something wrong.
Something's amiss. All right, so this journey you've been on has been arduous, to say the least. Tell us more.
I wouldn't call the journey arduous. The journey's been joyful and so inspired I can hardly contain myself some days. People say that they admire my motivation permanent. Like, no, you got me all wrong. Like, I ain't motivated for shit. Like, I'm like 4 months late doing my taxes. I don't want to do dishes though I have to. I'm an inspired person. The difference is motivation is pushing a ball up a hill. Inspiration is giving it a little nudge and letting it roll down a hill and letting it pull you along with it. So, I was working at a gay bar at Highland Lounge, and the biggest nightclub in Austin, Texas. And I was working there for 3 years. I was the creative director, among a lot of other things. I was also the only employee who worked in my underwear. But,
we'll go into that later,
so
I guess.
I was the creative director. Yeah. So I was the creative director there for 3 years, and therefore I made all the flyers and the posters and everything. And, what is the aesthetic of a gay nightclub? Rainbows, shiny, and neon, and glowing, and space. And what does that sound like to you? Gumball Lounge. So
it sounds like a lot of raves I've been to in the past.
I designed, I got really good at this particular aesthetic. And so when Miss Rona hit, I lost my job at the nightclub, of course, and I used my stimulus check to get VR, and I immediately found VRChat, fell in love with it because of your ability to create basically anything you can imagine. And
an infinite canvas.
Make me a world, and I was gonna I'm gonna make a super duper quick practice world, just to see how they get.
That's how it starts.
Nothing that I'm gonna spend too long on, maybe a week or two. And so I was like, if I just download a 3D model online and I make that model really, really big, then that model becomes the environment. Half my work is already done. So I'm just like scrolling through objects, coffee cans, and toilets and everything, and I see this gumball machine, and 2.5 years later,
the rest is history.
Club Gumball, the reason it's called that is because originally it was supposed to be a nightclub, and that's why in the Club Gumball to this day, if you go in that ship, there's a disco ball in the top.
Of course.
And that's because it was literally, there were going to be lasers in there. But then I thought, well, what if Club Gumball's not a nightclub? What if it's more like a C club, like an alien Illuminati initiation program?
Okay.
It's not that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Checks out. And now we're here. You just got back from a recent trip.
Yeah, a couple recent trips actually. I was in Taiwan and Venice within the last 2 months for 2 weeks each.
God. Those are really far away.
Dreams. Yeah, we were in Venice Film Festival and we got second place there. I had no idea when I said, like I said, to reiterate, I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna piddle around on this VRChat thing, and it's not only like it's a surprise career, like literally everything. Like I knew the general direction that I wanted to go. I've been writing my music for a long time. In fact, that was Gumball exists. I was like, I want to make an environment that's cool enough and interesting enough that people want to hang out there to my music, then find my music that way. And now that is coming to fruition, like even way more beautiful than I ever imagined.
It's an incredible soundtrack.
Thank you.
You know what I love?
So
You always take the
exciting
time
things.
to say thank you to a compliment, and I appreciate that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's what. Never mind. And so.
Oh.
I,
Okay.
I write a lot of instrumental music, but there's one album in particular that is basically like my pride and joy of my life's work. It's called The Road to Dawn. All of the rooms that we went into today, when the lyrics would pop up, those are each puzzle has a different lyrics from a different song that is on that album. At the very, very end, when the white circle appeared in the sky and that song that started playing, it's the first time that you actually hear my voice at any point. And that song that plays is the first song from that album, and the last line from that song on that album is, that which seems lost is not really gone. Come with me down the road to dawn. So it's like that song is an invitation to the album, but then Gumball Lounge is an invitation to that, and it's all I have a whole
It's all connected.
arc going.
Yeah, it's all together.
This is fun. I really feel like there's a live audience right now. Like
There is. We're seen by literally tens of people.
Wow. That's so cool.
Well, anytime you want to, come back and give us updates on your whereabouts or tell us of a new opening, or I heard not only just good news from your travels, but wonderful news, winning an award, coming in first. Tell us more about it.
Well, everyone on the team at KFF Kaohsiung Film Festival. So Taiwan, I don't know if you know, it's only about 2.5 hours on a bullet train from the southern tip to the northern tip of the island.
Okay.
It's a pretty intimate country. Everyone there was just so friendly and wonderful and hospitable, and it was like I was already in love with the place. I already had made so many good friends, both with locals and other international people that were coming that also had projects in the festival.
Of course, yeah.
And so when
the energy there, I'm sure, was just immense, amazing.
It was just amazing. And so, we were also paired with the award ceremony for the short films, and there were 20 awards given that night, all sorts of different stuff. But in the very, 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 very last award, they got up there and they read this little. Here, I'll read it. It's actually lovely. Okay, so they got up there and they're like, "All right, we got one more award to give out tonight." They call it the Super Mega Fireball Award.
All right.
But they got up there, they opened the envelope, and they say, with exceptionally beautiful world building and engaging storytelling, this project truly embodies the future of the immersive. It creates bridges and bonds between audiences and story that allow each participant to explore deep inside themselves effortlessly. Environment evokes natural interaction. Complex times we live in, this project is sure to bring a bright light into your day. Gumball dreams. And it was just one of the most wonderful moments of my whole life. I started crying a little bit.
That's
and
incredible.
I just walked down there and,
to achieve a dream that you had from so long ago, to see it come to such a high place.
And it's just the beginning, and it's just so it's special. So there was assigned seating because it was a limited space in that theater. There were names on all the chairs, and most people were there, but the person to my left was not there, and their name in their seat was Jonah, and my friend who passed away days earlier was John, and I was just like, oh, he's sitting right next to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So that's a recent loss that you've had to go through at such a high point in your life.
Yeah, it's been so okay, so
take your time.
Would there have been a better time for him to pass? Yes, later. But
always later.
If it had to happen now, it just couldn't have happened at a more perfect time. It was just so it was honest, because I've had his place as a backup to live for the last 7 years, and anytime I could just go back there and I could crash, and I didn't pay rent, and that's why I was able to Gumball Lounge and Club Gumball and everything so fast, just because I could just work on it for 17, 19 hours a day, literally, and then just sleep and wake up the next day like a fucking meth head, like for months on end.
Just going
and I
at
love
it.
that shit. And so now, like I said, when I came back from Taiwan, I was suddenly like, all right, I gotta find a new place to live. And so I'm staying with my brother right now for a couple months. I'm not gonna outstay my welcome more than that. Basically, I have to find somewhere new to live. I have to find, whether it's a roommate or rent or all that, blah blah blah. And Austin is quite literally like the most expensive place in our country right now, as far as like per ratio goes. Meanwhile, like the very same week I'm in this country and I'm falling in love with all these people, I was like, well, I need to find like a new place to live now, right? So like if I'm gonna invest that time, why not go somewhere? So I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically,
Uh-oh.
I already had a Zoom appointment with them, and I have another one coming up. But basically, it's this artist residency place where I can live there in like a big facility with like a bunch of other artists, like other international people, and just like a thriving creative community. And I'm just like,
That's
why would I stay in Austin? Like, really?
that's an incredible deal.
Gumball Dreams is kind of a reminder to live vibrantly, while you can. And
Absolutely.
so the first song that you hear when you spawn into Gumball Lounge, that first one that starts out with the gentle beeps and boops, that song is called Soundtrack of a Future Memory. And the reason it's called that is because this was like 7 years ago, or 6 years ago, and that was like I know in a lot of pain, growing up, Mormon, gay, and all sorts of stuff. But that was like the hardest of my life, like 100% for sure. When it was just like so much pain in your chest, it's like, how am I gonna like get through the next day? But I did, and a few days into that is when I wrote that song, and that's the reason it's called Soundtrack of a Future Memory, is because I was like, everything that's going to happen is going to be worth it. Like this, it might not seem like it right now, but there's a beautiful light at the end of this tunnel, and this song is about that. And so funny that 7 years into this, we only have maybe 3 more years down the tunnel, maybe even less than that. But how cool that basically it was true. Like this, the path is beautiful and awesome and winding. But yeah, so I guess the point of all that is Gumball Lounge is so much if you peel back the wallpaper, there's like sadness back there. If you lift up the couch curtains, there's like sadness. Like it's like built on a foundation. Like some of like two of the songs that you hear are about like dogs that I had that died. So it's like, but it's like that's why the rainbows pop so much, is because they're juxtaposed against that black background, right?
That's
So
right.
it's the contrast is everything.
You couldn't have worn it better.
Thanks.
This has
Cool.
been
Yeah, I would love
wonderful.
to post, and then we can
It's all to spread the word of 3D printing, additive manufacturing, rapid prototyping. Praise be the good word. Oh my god, this place is terrible. There's no exits. How long have we been here? Thanks for hanging out. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, thank you
don't
for hanging out. Like for
I won't
not only
ever
the first half, but the second half. This has been great.
go to bed.
No, but
Rest.
I've enjoyed every minute of this. This has been amazing.
Go rest.
Well, thank you. See you later. Have a wonderful night.
I will.
All right, be safe.
You too.
I have this thing where I don't like just disappearing. I have to like sit.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.